With your permission, I would like to start with a short paraphrase of Koheles. There is a time of greatness, and there is also a time of smallness. There is a time of grandeur, and there is a time of pettiness. There is a time of joyous ecstasy, and there is a time of boredom. There is a time of small incidents, and there is a time of great events. And we indeed, my friends, may Rabbi say, are living in a time of greatness, which rises like a peak of a tall mountain above the ordinary time flux. Gone is the monotony of a sterile history, and our history was a very monotonous one, of small workaday incidents and episodes which lack this subtlety and depth of creative history. We are confronted now, as I said before, not with incidents and episodes, but with events of tremendous magnitude. A dreary, slow, historical process turned into colorful historical drama, and boredom into joyous ecstasy. And there is no doubt, I have no doubt, in a word, we hear the footsteps of the Almighty walking in the historical Garden of Eden. Vayishmu ad eskel ad Hashem Elokim misalir bagon leruach hayim. And it's our prayer and our hope that this time history will confirm the opinion of the Bala Medrash that leruach hayim means in the direction of the sun rising above the horizons of historical fulfillment. It means toward the east, towards Riche. And we will reject the other interpretation of another Bala Medrash, that God walked in the direction of the sun setting below the horizons of historical decline. It's not my task tonight, I had to mention this, because it's impossible to omit, mentioning the great events. However, it is not my task to enumerate the great events, or if you wish to say so, the miracles which transpired in the past several weeks. All I wish to say is that in my eyes, in my opinion, the greatest of all events and the most marvelous of all miracles is the coming out of our people from a 2 millennia old historical eclipse, complete historical obscurity, into the center of the universal historical arena. The burgeoning of our people from anonymity, from the 2 millennia old anonymity, into the focus of public interest and curiosity. Basically, in the last 2,000 years, the Jewish people played no role, basically, in the historical arena. Revolutions transpired, worlds have been destroyed and rebuilt. Our people played no role. We lived in obscurity, in anonymity. And now the great miracle happened that our people somehow emerged from the shadows, from the anonymity it lived for so long and is now in the center of the universal stage of historical occurrence. And basically, when we study Chazal and the Nevi'im, and we search for a criterion by which we could determine certain events, whether they are related to Gula or just to success, because not every success can be called redemption. Not every victory is Gula. And not every battle won on the field, in the field, is considered, a battle for Gula. What is the criterion which we can recognize or discriminate between success and Gula, between victory and redemption? What is the criterion? It's basically Chazal. It's already, in Kisva Kiddush, we may find this criterion said that events of Gula-related events, must excite universal wondering and amazement. It must puzzle the peoples of the earth, it must fascinate them, and also frighten them. Many will admire, some will envy, and some will begin to hate Israel with a greater intensity and greater fury. But everybody must be somehow involved in the great events. Oz yemru ba'goyim migdil ad Hashem la'asei simele. The yemru ba'goyim is the criterion of which we may identify events related to Gula. Of course, Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele lends itself to a double interpretation. To an affirmative statement, it means they'll really acknowledge the historical reality and exclaim in admiration, Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele. It may also suggest to us a question that some nations will say to each other incredulously, is it true? Is it really true? What we read, what we hear, that Israel has triumphed over 100 million enemies? Is it possible? Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele? Is it possible, is it feasible that a cowardly Jew who used to fight by proxy and hated military service has smashed the mighty armies? Is it true that Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele? No, it isn't true. And if it is true, let us make the triumph untrue, convert it into an illusion, into a deception, into a mirage. Of course, we answer all those who question our triumph and want to convert it into defeat, Rahman al-Islam. We answer all those who question and doubt our great historical metamorphosis, which took place in the unfolding of our historical destiny. Our answer to them is firm and articulate and unequivocal. Yes, Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele. Willy-nilly you'll have to acknowledge, you'll have to concur with us, that Igdil ad Hashem la'asei simele. And we are ready to perpetuate this great miracle and to rejoice in it for many years to come. Oyinu smeichin.